A constitutional crisis. That's how it's been described by CNN. A judge has blocked Trump from exerting the authority he has in the executive branch over the executive branch, and that is unconstitutional. Elon Musk called for the impeachment of this judge, and now GOP rep Eli Crane is drafting articles of impeachment against this judge for overstepping. I don't even know what's going on. Look, this is the weirdest thing to me. Trump says we've got a federal executive branch. We're in charge of it. I'm sending in auditors. They're going to audit. And the judicial branch said, nah, you can't do that. I don't even understand why. This is what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on. What do we need impeachment for? That ruling doesn't pertain to you. If Donald Trump ordered imagine, okay, Trump, here's what you do. Here's how you solve this problem. Order the judge fired. Just say, I fire the judge. And they're like, but you can't. I'm like, oh, that's weird. He can't do that either. So maybe if we're in agreement, you are overstepping and so am I. Let's just call it a moot point and carry on. Now, this story begins with Elon Musk and the DOGE team trying to audit the treasury because they've been sending your money to wacky places. So it is believed. And a judge, there's a lawsuit. The judge says you can't have access to this information. Only the Treasury Department employees can. But how do you do an audit outside, an external department audit, if you can't have people outside that department go in? And these are government employees. So Eli Crane is making the move to impeach the judge, which I'm going to be honest, is weird. The way it should work is that there should be a countersuit to a higher court where they just say, this is ridiculous. This doesn't mean anything. And to be completely honest, if a judge orders the executive branch to do a thing that they have no authority to do, it's just nothing. It's just a piece of paper. It means nothing. How are we getting to this point? Call it a constitutional crisis. Call it whatever you want. But moves are being made and the judge has overstepped. If you want to impeach him, fine. I'm just saying Trump could straight up be like, that's cute that you claimed this. We're going to go ahead and do it because we have all these powers under Article 2 of the Constitution. Badlands Media has the story. Republican Rep Eli Crane said he has drafted articles of impeachment against Judge Paul A. Engelmeyer after the judge blocked Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from accessing Treasury Department payment systems. Crane wrote on X that partisan judges abusing their positions is a threat to democracy. He defended President Trump and his team at DOGE, saying they are working to fix it. This is obviously judicial overreach, he said, arguing that Judge Engelmeyer is attempting to stop White House employees from accessing the very systems they oversee. Indeed, that's true. Where in the Constitution does it say a president and his team cannot root out obvious waste, fraud, and abuse? So let me pull up the tweet here from Rep. Eli Crane. He says, I'm drafting articles of impeachment for U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmeyer. Partisan judges abusing their positions is a threat to democracy. The left has done irreparable harm to this country. President Trump and his team at DOGE are trying to fix it. This is obvious judicial overreach. Judge Engelmeyer is attempting to stop the White House employees from accessing the very systems they oversee. Where in the Constitution did it say president? Okay, so we did read all that already. Gulf South Traveler responds, saying, Judge Engelmeyer's order is a clear challenge to the doctrine of separation of powers as established in the U.S. Constitution. This isn't just judicial overreach. It's a constitutional crisis and must be dealt with immediately. I agree, my friends. Brian Stelter of CNN posts this clip of Caitlin Collins. She pointing out that we are looking at a constitutional crisis. She's not wrong, but let's play the clip and get the full context.
We are 3 weeks into the second Trump presidency, 3 weeks, and tonight there are warnings that the U.S. is dangerously close to a constitutional crisis. Now, the first shoe on this dropped when a federal judge today said the White House is defying his order to unfreeze billions of dollars in federal aid, marking the first time that we've had a judge expressly accuse the Trump administration of ignoring a court ruling. And in a separate case today, federal employees here in Washington told a judge that the administration was defying another order by not reinstating workers who had been put on leave. Now, this all has prominent Democrats and many of the nation's top constitutional scholars declaring that the U.S. is on the brink of a reckoning. The Trump Justice Department says the president should have the authority to decide how to run the government and that these judges are overreaching. And some of the president's allies say the judges should not be judging any of the moves to shrink the federal government.
So the question is, does Donald Trump have the authority to fire federal employees? Why does not he? You know what I mean? So the question at play, though, is that it's not so absolute. There are congressionally approved regulations on how government employees operate. The executive branch doesn't have supreme authority. There are restrictions. You, as the boss of a company, can't just fire or hire or do whatever you want. Isn't that funny? Can I tell you guys? You think that if you own a business, you can hire people? Think again. Yeah, you can't do that. Man, did I learn a bunch of harsh lessons trying to run a business. Every day, Alice and I are like, oh, so that's why corporations do that. If you're wondering why your company has these stupid policies, guess what? It's probably the law. Companies would do whatever is the simple answer. They don't want to waste time on these things. But here we go. So this means there's going to be judicial and legislative oversight of what the executive branch does. So there are certain restrictions that can be placed on Donald Trump's actions that he can't defy. That being said, when it comes to the treasury question, this is where things get interesting. Trump isn't firing anybody. He is not breaking any classification laws. He's literally saying, we have a department that oversees digital service. We want them to go and audit the Treasury Department. And a judge was like, nah, you can't do that. No, hold on. You want to make an argument about union protections or laws pertaining to employment that Congress has passed and a judge will uphold against the executive branch. That I get. That I understand. But the Treasury thing is where it gets interesting, and that judge has completely overstepped. As an aside, because, we're going to say it, I want to play this real quick.
Of ignoring a court ruling. And in a separate case today, federal employees here in Washington told a judge that the administration...
I just got to pause right there and do that one more time.
And in a separate case today, federal employees here in Washington told a judge that the...
Told. I just can't with this Caitlin Collins. Look, I don't know her. I don't think she's a good person. I think she's a liar. And I hate to rag on someone for aesthetic reasons, but how CNN is paying $3 million to a person who goes on primetime and says told. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's petty. I am not a fan of Caitlin. I think she's a bad person. If she was a good person and she said told, they told. How now, brown cow? Look, every now and then we slip up. But I will rag on CNN at any opportunity. Sorry, Caitlin. You need elocution lessons. Where did you get yours from? Looney Tunes? Anyway, I'm just being mean now. Well, Elon Musk is also warning of fraud in Social Security. I want to see DOGE get the job done. I will talk clearly and with a North Atlantic accent from now on because I just made fun of Caitlin Collins. No, I'm kidding. Anyway. Billionaire Elon Musk has said there's widespread fraud taking place in the payment of federal entitlements like Social Security. Social Security benefits are paid to more than 70 million Americans on a monthly basis and help form the bedrock of income for many retirees. Oh, I love the Social Security conversation. I oppose it. I do. Had a debate with Sam Cedar on it. He got so mad. But he made this the argument he's made. I made a cultural one. He made a financial one. And this is the graph go up. Graph go up argument. I can't stand the graph go up argument. These liberals and libertarians. Anyway, Elon Musk wrote, at this point, I am 100% certain the magnitude of fraud in federal entitlements exceeds the combined sum of every private scam you've ever heard by far. It's not even close. Maybe this is why the judge is trying to stop Harry Bowles. That's Elon's name now on X, by the way. Trying to stop him from getting access to these systems. I want to see him get access. I want to see him clean out the fraud, the waste, the abuse. But let me tell you, my friends, I despise Social Security. I absolutely do. I believe that it is the responsibility of the children to take care of the elderly. When you're a baby, your parents take care of you. When you get older, you take care of your parents. It is the ongoing cycle of life. And when that system is broken, your society begins to fall apart. We created this Social Security system, and it was opening the door to adults not having children in their lives. See, it used to be if you were, so you're born, you are around your early teens. I mean, you're working the whole time doing what literal stuff you can. Maybe you're 8 and you're carrying a bag, a gallon of milk or whatever in the house. If you can carry it at 8, you probably can. And then when you're 13, you're helping the dad. And then when you're 20, you are married, you are starting a family, and you're building a new house. Then you raise your children and you work. Then you're 40 and those kids are having kids, and now you are the grandfather. And when you're elderly, your children and your grandkids help take care of you as you did for your grandparents. That's the way it always was. And you work where you can and you do what you can because responsibility lies in all of us, our whole lives, to do what we can Social Security came around and they basically said the government's going to give you money. You don't need family anymore. And this opened the door. Now, kids put their parents in homes and give them and they rely on the government to pay their bills. Sam Cedar made the argument Social Security is good, largely because it gives the elderly capital to spend, which creates demand and gives young people jobs. And I said, now you're just replacing what humans should be doing already with a government structure that isn't working properly. I would prefer it if families took care of each other. That's how it's supposed to be. But regardless of those opinions on culture or economics, the reality is if fraud really is in this system, then nobody's benefiting. And we're all getting ripped off so that the people in Loudoun County, Virginia can get the highest median incomes in the country for doing who knows what. In the meantime, my friends, we are facing a constitutional crisis. The question of whether or not these judges have the authority over Trump, and if Trump defies them, what does that mean? A constitutional crisis it's a silly term, to be completely honest. It just means that there's questions as to what the authority is and the courts need to answer it. Thank you and have a nice day. So they can cry all day about it and say, federal workers told a judge, toed a judge, toed the line. And I'm just going to say, look, the Supreme Court can weigh in and make determinations about what Trump can or can't do. That's checks and balances. And they're going to largely agree with Trump's authority on the Treasury Department and DOGE. And they may say that employees have protections in the federal government. That's why Donald Trump isn't blanket firing people. He's putting them on leave. And they're trying to. And now, here's what gets interesting. I believe Trump does have the authority to put them on leave. Absolutely. Firing people is one thing. And that's why Trump's not doing it. Trump's saying, you're on leave. Have fun. He's trying to put pressure on them so that they quit. Okay, well, if you're telling people you're going to pay them, what are you going to do about it? Trump's navigating these things with legal advice. It's going to be interesting to see how the courts respond. I'm going to wrap it up there, my friends. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. Become a member at timcast.com to support our work. We have 2 Green Room episodes up from last night. Nick Oakes and Milo Yiannopoulos. The Nick Oakes one. Milo's really fun and funny. You'll be entertained. Nick Oakes will terrify you. He was tortured by the government for being a J6er. Check that one out, timcast.com members. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you all with another segment coming up. And thanks for watching.